Three, two, one. Done. Wow, Chad, you just got you went interstellar on us. And it's background.
I figured my background was a little boring today, so why not?
Hey,
I mean, you're now more epic than all of us combined. Well, welcome to another episode of us three weirdos drinking together and talking about random whatevers. Today we're going to talk about grappa.
Feels like it's 11:30 at night, not 9:30.
If anyone who does not live in the United States watches this, don't ever let your government install daylight savings time or anything like that. It's just, no, don't do it.
oh no.
Not worth it.
No.
I don't know what we're getting from it. But all right, so what is this grappa stuff?
So grappa is in a category called pumice brandy. And what a pumice brandy basically means is that it is made from the leftovers of wine production or brandy production. So basically, like when you think about wine, you're taking these grapes and you're crushing it, but you want to do it very softly. And so a lot of times they'll do like they have these big bladders that they'll fill up and it will slowly press the grapes, but because it's a big,
You're using words that sound kind of disgusting. Pumice and bladders.
Pumice bladders. Anyway, you get these grape husks that are left over. There's still juice in there. There's still sugar, and it's fermentable. So they ferment it, and then they distill it. And in this case, they age it, which is not necessarily normal. Most time it's just clear, but
Definitely got a little fruit adjacent smell to it.
fruit adjacent smell.
Yeah, like a LaCroix.
Yeah. There you go.
Now, I'll let you guys taste it first, and then you can tell me how bad or how evil I've been.
It kind of reminds me of a little mezcal, kind of smoky.
It's not bad.
Good. I mean,
I don't know.
grappa has a very bad name, I guess, in the alcohol world. Like you think of grappa and it's like, oh God, that stuff's harsh. But I mean, there is good stuff out there for sure. And the aged stuff is actually really quite delightful, in my opinion.
I think if you got tossed on this, it would be a crippling hangover. That I will think.
When I was in Italy, they basically put you in a room of grappa before you go to this restaurant, and it was like, here, choose your grappa, and it's just like walls of grappa, and you're like, this night's not gonna end well. All right, here we go.
It's the leftovers, right? I mean,
Here's the thing is like you have to remember that like Italians are incredibly resourceful. I mean, balsamic vinegar comes from these grapes that cannot be used in anything. They're crap, they're garbage. And we'll ferment it into wine, which is garbage, and then we'll re-ferment it into vinegar. So I mean, just Italians, and then we'll mark it up and we'll market it like crazy, and it'll be balsamic vinegar from Modena, or like something like crazy like that. And so grappa, their wine, everything, like they come up with ways to sell and give a certain amount of prestige to what most people would consider to be garbage. But it turns out a lot of the stuff that they make that people would consider to be garbage is actually really quite delicious. So the Italians are just super geniuses about that. And everyone's kind of followed that example. I think technically the French did figure out how to do pumice brandy first. They have something called Marc, M-A-R-C. And then you go to Greece, they have Supero, which technically maybe the Greeks came up with first, just being that the Greeks had, wine first before anyone else. But yeah.
I like the flavor more than the smell. that means anything.
Yeah. It smells like somebody smeared sugar-free jelly on a graham cracker, or like stale saltine.
It's being at Denny's at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Don't have money for the Grand Slam.
Good thing I forgot the ball at work, because we'll not talk about the brand. I'm sure
No.
very nice brand. It's actually a very good brand of grappa from Italy. But there's several distilleries here in Oregon that make grappa. It's a thing. It's actually kind of really impressive how. When you think about the world of spirits, there are so many different types of spirits out there, but we really only think of like the major 5 or 6. When we talk about whiskey, obviously, we talk about brandy, we talk about tequila, vodka, rum, and gin. Those are kind of the big 6 that we talk about. But there's, quadruple that many spirits in the world. Easily.
So what do people do with this other than drink it straight like we're doing?
They drink it straight like that, like we're doing.
Okay.
Grappa is very much like a before dinner kind of thing or after dinner kind of thing. It's, in Italy, it's all about you drink with food, right? So it's what you do before or after. It's wine is enjoyed during, and so before, after, they have very specific alcohols or liqueurs that are meant for enjoying or helping
you're enjoying this maybe in the kitchen before you go into the dining room.
Kind of, yeah. It's that thing that you have to get your stomach ready to digest something, specifically food. And then you have wine to kind of balance out the flavor of food. And then afterwards, you want something that's like digestible, like Fernet or like a really serious Amaro.
What's the ABV on this? Do you know?
It's, I think, 42%.
Okay. Yeah, that's up there.
Yeah, it's
like when you compare it to the wine that probably it made.
Look it up inside.
Put my laptop in because, well, I don't want to die on you in the middle of this.
Don't die. At the same time, of course, people are now making cocktails with this and whatnot, but do
you get a lot of call for this in your bar?
Never. Almost.
So if I want to blindside a bartender, just ask for this.
Sorry, 50% alcohol is what this thing's at. There is, if you want a bar to run for money and nothing else but money, you don't stock many spirits. I'll just be honest. You stock what people call for because you want that turnover. If you want to run a bar program where you're educating and you're exploring and you're trying to offer something new, then you stock weird and obscure stuff. And so, other than that, you're an Italian restaurant and you stock. But even this stuff, like this isn't the grappa that you would call for. And so, if you're in a nice Italian restaurant, you're like, I want to end my night with grappa because you traveled to Italy and someone introduced you to it. You think about the clear stuff. You don't think about the reservas. You don't think about the aged stuff. So this isn't what you would expect to get offered to you. And
so even if I go to Italy, I'm not getting this. If I ask for grappa.
You can get it in the sense that you can seek it out. But again, it's one of those things that like, it's just not done. It's not normal. It's not the average. Like grappa, again, doesn't have necessarily a super high opinion, even in Italy. It's a very specific time and place for when you drink this. So there's not a lot of, at least in my experience, there's not a lot of people who put that much love and care into it until fairly recently. And I'll let the cat out of the bag. Nardini is the company that makes this, but Nardini does put a lot of care into their grappa. Nonino is another one that puts a lot of care into their spirits. But and they'll come up with aged versions of it, and they'll come up with different expressions of it. But it's a super, super niche market. And it's one of those things that you're doing completely purely out of passion and thinking, this tastes good, I want to share it with the world, please indulge in it. But at the same time, like, there's no category that exists for this, that any person outside of your country or outside of not even your little town that you exist in is going to be like, oh, this is good shit.
Is anybody locally doing this, considering all the, vineyards and everything we have around here?
Aged grappa? No one's touching this aged grappa. A couple of people make grappa, absolutely, but no one's making aged grappa.
So what's the difference between aged grappa and just straight grappa?
Throw it in a barrel is the definition of age. So, I mean, like a whiskey, consider every spirit has, to what I've seen, has kind of a progression. And this has happened so far, all over the world at different times and different periods in life. But someone discovers throwing shit in a barrel makes it better. In the case of Scotch, they had to throw it in. Barrels were this form of transportation, right? And so they throw it in a barrel and they deliver it somewhere. And in order to bend the staves, you kind of have to burn them a little bit. And once in a while, you burn them a little too much, and it would develop a char, and it would develop eventually a burn, i.e. the charcoal. And we now know, scientifically speaking, that you want to first toast the barrel. Toasting the barrel, you caramelize the sugars in the wood, which is what gives, that sweetness to an aged spirit. And then once you caramelize that sugar, you toasted it, then you really crank up the heat and you char the crap out of the inside. And that's what gives you that charcoal. Now, charcoal is what's going to kind of cleanse your spirit. That's why, like, Tennessee whiskey is so smooth, is because they filter it through charcoal. And charcoal, being that it's so porous, is going to pull in a lot of the kind of more rougher edges of a spirit, so to say. And so when you're doing it well in a barrel, it's as the seasons change and things get warmer, the wood fibers expand, the spirit gets sucked in there. But as it gets sucked in there, it goes through that charcoal and then into the wood sugars. And then it, soaks up some of those wood sugars, and it comes back out, and then goes back out every year as the temperature changes. We didn't understand that process though first. That was just accidentally we got to that place. And it wasn't really until bourbon was being sent down the Mississippi River that we actually figured out that's why this was happening. And so, all these distilleries in Kentucky were sending down this whiskey down the Mississippi River because that was the only form that you could transport a barrel that size. That was economical in any sense and way. You couldn't put it on a cart and buggy. It was way too heavy. So you put on these barges, send them down the Mississippi River, and it just became this common knowledge that the best whiskey was in New Orleans. And that wasn't rocket science. It was the longest, it was the furthest stop away. So eventually these bars, because back in the day, they just ordered it from the distillery in the barrel. That's how it was transported. They didn't have any glasses or whatever. So then all of a sudden they started getting these orders being like, hey, we want more of that extra charred barrel. And the distillers are going, the fuck you talking about? And so they started saying, hey, send some of those barrels back that you're talking about. And they sent them back and they pulled them apart, and they're like, got it. Whoever made these barrels, to our standards, fucked up and burnt it a little too much. But they didn't know, they didn't care. So let's just start playing with this a little more, and we'll start burning a little more on purpose. And that was the whole kind of aging world, and where that came from was we finally figured out kind of the science behind what was going on there, and really started to dive down that rabbit hole. That was 200 years ago. And since then, Scotch has now been aged in barrels. Everyone's starting to be aged in barrels. But before that, it was transportation. It's the only way that you could transport something. And they had different types of barrels. You had barrels that were for, grain or apples or whatever. Those were more, water would have seeped through it. And then you had super tight barrels where nothing was getting through it. You could ship oils, water, whatever.
Do you know what these ones were stored in?
I don't. My guess is probably like a, maybe they'll say sherry barrel or
used bourbon barrel.
Maybe there's a lot of those around here. Slovenian rest for 3 years in Slovenian oak casks.
I'm enjoying this. It's not,
Minimum 3 years in Slovenia oak.
I don't like the smell of it, but I'm enjoying sipping on it.
Taste is quite pleasant, right? And this one's not available. They have a 5 and a 7 and a 15-year that are not available in Oregon yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is that? Just distribution?
No one's asked, probably. No one's like, I love grappa. Give me the 15-year. It's going to be $300. Yes, give it to me now.
It really would really be $300?
I have no idea. Probably.
How much does grappa go for?
Depends on which one you're getting. I would say you normally here in the United States, maybe like $30 to $50 for an unaged one. This one's like 70.
Okay.
So, I mean, not cheap by any means, but not
No.
insane either.
No. It's good. I don't know if I'd go out and buy a bottle, but you know, it's good to experiment. It's an adventure in drinking, if you will.
Yeah, where would I, that's for something other than this, probably, if I was going to have something pre-meal or post-meal drink.
And I mean, for me, alcohol is, I mean, as we talked about, it's absolutely an experience. But I think half the fun also is like, we're here all just sitting in our house drinking. Half the fun of alcohol is going out to these countries and experiencing it there, because then it takes on a whole new meaning. And every time you drink it, and that's, I mean, here's what I love about alcohol. The greatest thing there is for alcohol that there is it's the greatest memory building drug in the world. In the sense that like wherever you are, whatever you're doing, the first time you have something, the second time you have it, the third time you have it, instantaneously, that's all going to come back.
The thing about this, it's like, I'll have this bottle and I'm going to take this to my neighbor and we'll share this, and that it'll be a one-time thing. We'll share this experience. I'll get rid of the bottle, give it back to you, get something new, and then share it with my neighbor again.
Heck yeah.
And then randomly, here's the thing for me is like randomly, then maybe you'll find one of those bottles again. It'll make its way to you. You'll share it with your neighbor, and your neighbor will be, man, wow, we had this one before, man. Remember that time we were talking about that one thing? And he'll be like, yeah, totally. We were talking, why the hell did we start talking about that? That's what it really is that like it brings up these memories of where you were at, what you were doing when you were the first time you were drinking it.
I was out of town recently and I gave my neighbors, some, a drink. And as a thank you for watching our house while we were gone. And they have since now bought like 3 bottles of that to replace because they've enjoyed it so much.
Your Instagram handle is definitely no longer worthy. You are not a Whiskey Greenhorn in any way, shape, or form anymore. Richard, we have corrupted Chad in the best way possible.
We do the best we can. You take him as a young pup, and then you got to send him out into the world.
Best bar experience I have ever had by far was my first bar I ever worked at. I had this regular older gentleman, and older, and he's our age now, comes in with his now just turned 21-year-old son, and decides that he is going to buy top shelf of every liquor that I have, of every category I have, and have him do little tastes, in the sense that he wanted to like ruin him on all the good stuff first, and then like make him go like dredge through all the crap to get back to all these amazing things. Like, you're a smart and also a horrible person.
Yep. I forgot what comedian it was, but he said, he was like, I never really got into partying and drugs because I got exposed to fine food and fine dining. It was just as expensive as drugs.
And way better.
And he's like, that's the only reason I didn't turn into a drug addict. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
I mean, at the end of the day, everything's a drug, right? Everything is in some way, shape, or form causing chemicals in your brain to be shot at. You're on Instagram, you click like, instantaneously, your brain kicks out some dopamine. You know, you're drinking alcohol, boom, something comes out. You have some, you know, here in Oregon, marijuana is legal, boom, you got, you know, whatever. Sugar, boom, you got something. Caffeine, boom, you know, it's a drug that does something to you. We're a society and a people that just seek these like things that cause us to feel something through these like drugs, right? To me, you can use a drug for something negative and like, you know, that's the only way I can feel this. Or you can use it for something positive in the sense of like sharing it with other people and sharing a really fun experience. And I think by doing that, you don't connect that feeling to the drug itself. You connect it to that social and that group activity or those friends that you share it with and whatnot. No, I want to.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I can't think of a Ford F-150 without thinking about drinking Mad Dog in the trunk in the bed of it and sitting in the desert in New Mexico. But
Rats.
you know, it's just, you know, that will always be Mad Dog. Great flavor.
I miss that whole category growing up.
Oof. It's you know, Boone's Farm, Strawberry Hill, all that just god awful piss.
See, I was too responsible in my youth, and also I was with an alcoholic for 4 years, so that kind of puts a damper on your the crazy drinking. With that time of my life when I could have been drinking really bad stuff, I didn't start drinking till I was, you know, old enough to be like, I'm not drinking that shit.
That was my same. I mean, overly responsible and terrified of the consequences of doing something horrible. Mm-hmm. Too much martial arts in a young age, and was like, I get into a fight and it's not going to end well for someone else or me, and that for that matter.
I grew up at a Baptist church. Same thing.
That will do it.
I just grew up making bad decisions.
This is why you're far more interesting than we are, Richard.
Man, you know, life comes from experiences. You know,
this is true. I mean, and I think that's, I mean, full circle back to like Grappa. Like that's when you look at the French. The French have always been like this place of resourcefulness and ingenuity, but kind of this snobbiness and this high end thing. Like if we're going to do it, we're going to do it to perfection. And so you think about all their wine, you think about their spirits, like cognac, everything has like 300 years of history to it. And it's been crafted to be the epitome of what it's going to be. And there's a sentiment there that's like, it's really fucking good, because trust me, their wine is amazing. Their cognac's amazing. Their mark is everything about what they do is always amazing. But there's a part and a point where it gets boring. The Italians, on the other hand, it's just, I mean, for everything, there's a story. I mean, Chianti has the famous story of, you know, they looked at the French and how the French had designated different regions in their country to grow very specific types of grapes, because they had, you know, scienced it back to like, well, this kind of grapes would grow the best here, so therefore we probably get the best kind of wine if we blended these different types of grapes that grow really well here. And these are good types of grapes, not bad types of grapes. These are the, you know, noble varieties that we have so deemed. And the Italians are like, yeah, but, well, not specifically the Italians. The mob in Italy was like, yeah, but that means that Tony's going out of work because he grows shitty grapes. So we got to keep Tony employed. So those shitty grapes have to go into the Chianti. And all the winemakers like, no. And they go, tough shit. Tony's got to feed the family. So you got to put them shitty grapes in there. Define shitty. And that's Chianti in a nutshell. And like, some people love it, some people hate it. But at the end of the day, the mob came in like, no, Tony's got to feed his family. Put the fucking grapes in the wine. And that's kind of like in a nutshell, that's Italy. Like, it's just make it work. Find the ingenuity. You know, don't waste that. That could be put into something.
Mob family restaurants suck. They're going to have the money come in, so they don't need to be good.
It depends on who's the foodie in the family. There's some mob restaurants that are really good simply because one of the family members is the chef, and they're like completely a nerd on that one thing, and they're like, no, it shall be good. But the restaurant doesn't make any money. It makes money now. We'll find a way to make money.
It's a cash business.
unless someone's sister or someone's mom runs it, and then no, it's not. Then it's you have to make the money to make it run, or else mom's gonna kill you.
Oh, good times. There was one in Vegas. I forgot the name of it. It was this Italian restaurant. It was rumored to be just nothing but mobsters, but everybody was too scared to eat at it. I forgot the name of it though. It was. I heard it was good, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, no one was gonna say it was bad, right?
Yeah, not more than once.
It only had one bad review, and then that was it.
And then it mysteriously disappeared.
Oh man, how's your business? How are you guys doing in the pandemic now, Robbie? How's Botanist doing?
Oh man, it is just ups and downs, dude, all over the place. We're doing okay. We're surviving. Next week, actually, I'm going to be reopening the downstairs on Thursday for a pop-up, which will be a 3 cocktail tasting menu with a 4th cocktail to take home. So reason for that is I want to start teaching people that, yes, you can take cocktails home now.
How do you get the word out on that? Do you just, as people come into the upstairs, be like, we also got this downstairs thing going
on? I cheat and I play the game. And I'll put that out there. Sorry. Not sorry. You through the years of being in this industry, you have friends who talk, and you have friends that are in media. You have friends who have blogs. You have friends that, and you invite them in. And you,
Richard, have we got our invitation yet?
Well, I'm working on it. I'm trying to put my social game up to get to that point. My MySpace account is thumping right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys can make it on Thursday evening. This is my official invite to you guys, because I knew I would be seeing here. If you guys got Thursday evening plans, if you can get babysitters for the kids, bring the wives. It's on me. Come in.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
There is a 4:00 sitting, a 6:00 sitting, and an 8:00 sitting. If you can make it for the 8:00 sitting, I highly recommend it, because that's the one that's going to get a little rowdy.
No, that's in your basement bar. What cocktails are you doing?
I've got 4. So the 4th one will be a take-home one, obviously. So the plan is that everyone comes in, and there's going to be like a smorgasbord of charcuteries and cheeses and fruits and little preserves over on one side of the bar. There's only going to be 15 people max per seating, because that's what I can take care of by myself for the most part. First cocktail is, first little amuse bouche will be just a little bit of champagne, just to welcome everyone in and kind of get the party going. Then it's going to be the Clear Creek pear brandy with pear soda. So I've taken pear juice, I've juiced pears, added a little bit of honey to it, a little bit of lemon juice, some malic acid. Malic acid is like the acid of pears and apples. And then I'm going to force carbonate that with some CO2 and just carbonate the whole thing, pour it out of a tap. And so it'll be like a pear brandy soda. Second cocktail, and I don't have names for any of these except for the second one. The second one is going to be a Negroni, which is normally gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. This one's going to be with dill aquavit. So the name is The Adventures of Dill and Barry, after Bill and Ted and Bill. So that's going to be this dill aquavit. I'm going to take some strawberries and reduce them with balsamic vinegar, and use that Fast Penny Spirits Amaro that we tried from Seattle instead of Campari, and then a sweet vermouth from Italy. It's not really sweet though. It's a kind of a middle of the ground one. And then the last cocktail that'll be there for dining is going to be this weird one. I don't know what to call it. And it's just a smorgasbord of ingredients. It's a Pinot Noir barrel-aged gin with this amphora. Amphora is a big clay pot that you age wine in sometimes. And it's like a fortified wine spirit from Battle Creek Cellars, which is here in Oregon. Lemon, buckwheat honey. Buckwheat's like this black, really kind of funky, earthy honey from Oregon and Ridley, Kentucky. And a little bit of cachaça. Cachaça is the Brazilian rum. We should really try it here. It's an interesting one. And the last one will be kind of an upgraded old fashioned that we all tried last time. So
what was it just cost to get? So it's like a one price gets you in the door and everything's covered.
Yep.
How much is it?
$50 for the cocktails and 25 for the food.
It's not bad for a night out.
I mean,
can you change out the food? Let's say, like, you know what you're serving under the 25. We're not interested.
What I want to do, I mean, long-term goal is I want to open the bar 4 nights a week. And I want to have 3 sittings a night with 15 people because that's what I can handle by myself. So if I have one other person there, it'd be a super just easy, fun experience. But it becomes this like educational experience where you learn about all, these spirits, you learn about the ingredients, learn about what farms we're using, you learn about like just a fun time. And then I want to get some local artists to come in and hang up their art downstairs to be bought and sold if they want to do so, and music, maybe have a DJ come by. And the goal is to just do that and create these really fun experiences that people want to talk about and bring people back to, and change the menu every month. And eventually, hopefully, either partner with a chef or partner with a restaurant that wants to come down for that month and provide the food. Or maybe several different restaurants that want to come in and do like a fun little thing just to get their own name out there, to get their own word out there. So it's meant to be this like decadent amusement park for people who love cocktails and wine and food to come down and have a great time. Being that, I finally just got the okay from Hood River Distillers and Clear Creek to use their spirits when I open up my cocktail distillery. So that's now everyone said yes to it. So kind of the idea is like, we'll R&D these cocktails for this experience. And then a month after that experience is done and over with, and we're starting on a new one, the winner cocktails from that experience will then turn into these bottled cocktails that you can just buy anywhere you want.
Nice. How you feeling about getting back into the basement bar? It's been 2 years?
2 years. I am so excited. I mean, my fiance and I were walking on Providore today, and I was just like, look at all these ingredients. I want to do this. I want to add this with this. I want to use this. And she was just like, honey, let's get through day one. I was like, oh, right. Yes.
So how important is reviews these days? Like, do you pay attention to reviews, and do you kind of adjust accordingly?
I'll be honest, I don't pay attention to reviews at all.
Well, now, and I put them in 2 different categories. There's, like, let's say the Portland Weekly magazine versus Yelp.
Don't pay attention. If I get written up, cool, awesome. If I go on TV, sweet, fun. I look at it from this perspective. I'm still learning. I'm still growing as a bartender. I'm still growing as this cocktail person. I'm going to just keep doing the best job I can. And reading some review that tears me apart, that's not going to help me grow. A friend of mine coming up to me and be like, hey, I loved it, except this one cocktail just really didn't get home. And at the same time, like, if I have good customer service and I'm in a place where I can have that open, honest communication, I'm going to grow and learn there. And if someone wants to just tear me a hole online, chances are there's nothing really critical there, in the sense that, like, why is someone going online to rip me a new one? Well, it's not so that I can grow. It's not so I can improve. It's not going to help me. So they're just helping themselves.
Well, you do have a 4.5 star rating on Yelp right now, just to.
A long time ago, I took a seminar from this guy who has a bar in New York, and someone asked him the same questions, like, what do you do about reviews? He's like, don't read them. He's like, if you want to sleep better and you want to live longer, here's my one piece of advice: don't read your reviews.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing good comes from reading your reviews. Either you're going to read all the good ones and you're going to become a stuck-up piece of shit, or you're going to read all the bad ones and you're going to want to shoot yourself.
Well, I'm going to forward you the lowest review on Yelp.
He's not listening at all.
So let's get your good for groups.
A fair point. Yes, absolutely. 8,000 square foot patio would do that for groups.
Yeah, no, it's
nice patio. Yeah, I get that.
I made a video about the guy who makes the barrels for Rogue.
Uh-huh.
And he does it all by himself. and literally the title was, you know, Rogue, something like Rogue still builds barrels one at a time. And then like the very first comment was like, he built 3 of them. Like, and I'm just like, yeah, one at a time. Like, it's one person. Like, I did like and like that was literally the first comment. I'm like,
grow 6 arms and does.
yeah. I'm like, okay, first of all, this thing was up for like 45 seconds and you already like, I already feel dumber reading your thing, man. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, I think I was listening to a podcast from David Chang a couple days ago, and he hit it home again on this one. Is like just understanding like where someone comes from is one of the like greatest, I think, skills someone can have. And if someone's coming from like a really like kind and good place, like listen to them out. They might not use the right language, they might not use the correct words, but understand that they're coming from a good place. They mean well. Just hear them out. And vice versa. Sorry, go for it.
Oh, no, I've made the mistake this week. For work, something I did was on YouTube, and I made the mistake of, oh, there's some comments, and I read the comments, and you immediately want to respond because you know they got this wrong. They are wrong. I need to respond and make sure they know they're wrong.
There was this gal, her name's Angel, and I'm not sure if she still does it, but she used to make these amazing cocktail videos, and she made a living like going around the country, and I think eventually the world, taking videos of bartenders at their work, making these cocktail videos. And I tend to have a very flamboyant, kind of fun way of making cocktails. I learned that early on, that people tend to watch you, and so why not give them a show? And so I've twirl bottles around a little bit, and I play with my hands, and I have some fun. And I made this video got, I think, like 6,000 views or something like that. And to me, that was a lot. And I'm looking at all the comments, and it's like, just fucking make the cocktail, man. Why you gotta flip these bottles? And I was like,
because I'm Tom Cruise, damn it.
No, that was like, you're not Tom Cruise, dude. And it was just like, what? I mean, some people were like, oh, it looks tasty. And other ones like, you spilled a little bit. And it was like, oh, God. Yes, you're right. I did. Absolutely. Sorry.
Richard's such an ass on YouTube.
Well, no, I mean, I did this video, and it was about like how girls about to go into high school were coping with COVID and everything shutting down. And literally the first effing comment was like, who cares what some 8th grade girls thinks? And I'm like, well, that's the whole concept of the story. So you had to for watching it. Like it's literally in the title. Like you clicked on it, you opened it. Like, yeah, and it's, you can, like I did a Pappy video or something. I forgot which one it was. And I spilled a little bit on the table. And people were like, you spilled it.
You up for it.
And I was like, yeah, twice. Should have seen the other one where I knocked the bottle off the table.
I mean, and that's, yeah, back to my point. Don't comments are nice and all. If someone really gives a shit, they'll direct message you.
Yeah.
Right.
If they don't, then
that's why
I can see where there's constructive, like, hey, you need to update your hours on your website, or
yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of that, and at the same time, it's also like, I mean, there's so much feedback right now from so many people in restaurants, and at the same time, from my personal one, it's like, all right, yes, I'm trying. Oh, shit, forgot. Yep, you're right. I'll update that. Google's a pain in the ass, because I'm sorry, Google, if your algorithm's watching this right now. You make it so that anyone can fucking update your hours, or suggest your new hours, and you have no idea how many people fucking troll me into having open for brunch again. It's like, no, I'm not open for brunch anymore. Wait, why am I open for brunch again? Why does Google think I'm open? No, I already changed that. No, it's...
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, brunch in Portland, Oregon is huge. I've never done it. here. I've been to brunch buffets in Vegas, but that's, endless mimosas and jumbo shrimp. Like it's, for some reason the weekend brunch crowd here it's pretty intense.
Why
Everybody,
aren't you doing it?
everybody here loves brunch except the people working it.
Yeah.
Worst time of my life.
How is it to run a restaurant in Portland now?
I mean, just speaking personally, I would say it's a nightmare. You don't have access to the ingredients that you're used to or that you want. And then the ingredients that you do have access to now, the prices are all over the board. I mean, fish has like tripled or quadrupled in cost. You have customers that either are super entitled or impatient, or, thank God there's a lot who also are just really understanding and really kind. Now we ask for vaccination cards on the, if someone's coming inside, and so you have an equal number of people who are just like, oh, thank you so much for asking, here you are. No, like, really? Well, they don't ask for that in Lake Oswego. I'll say it here. Like, the number one thing that went through my head at that time was just like, oh, you're from Lake Oswego? Oh, we don't require vaccination cards from you. You're exempt from that law. Just so they'd be like, wait, really? No, fuck off. Of course not. I don't care what you do in Lake Oswego. It's a tiny ass town. I mean, yeah, it's big-ish, but compared to Portland,
yeah,
their COVID numbers are a little bit different.
Just a little bit. You have access to far fewer people than I do. I'm just trying to keep you safe, as well as everyone else that's dying.
Oh. I was at a play for one of my kids last night, and there was a vaccine check there, and I was like, okay. Grant High School. So I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, I ran into her one time.
Yeah.
I was over at Grant High School, and there were these kids walking out of their class, and this lady was running around yelling at the kids, saying it would castrate them. The vaccine would castrate them.
Oh, dude,
Yes.
trust me. Yeah.
That was her words. Yes, her words. It would castrate them.
Well, I had some guy with half a set of teeth yell at me that I was a sheep and that I was, you're stupid if you get the shot. And he didn't take kindly to the fact that he couldn't take care of his teeth. I was going to question his science knowledge, especially on the, vaccination level. You know what I mean? You can't operate a toothbrush, questioning whether vaccine, But yeah, it's just me.
Hey, to each your own. I guess I feel you in danger. My fiance will probably not stop giving me shit. So Dwight Howard, the basketball player, came into the restaurant the other night, and I was the host, as I usually am these days. And anyone who I always offer, hey, do you want to sit outside? Do you want to sit inside? And outside, it's a covered patio. It's heated, to some degree, but it's Oregon. It's getting colder. And anyone who wants to sit inside, I go, okay, can I see proof of vaccination? Absolutely. They whip out their phone and all. So person in front of Dwight Howard and his significant other or manager, I'm not sure what she was to him, but they get there after I've just asked for someone else's vaccination card. I was like, hi, welcome in. And I did not know who this person was, in all fair honesty. Just knew that he was fucking tall. And when someone's, to me, is fucking tall, I'm like, okay, chances are he's a basketball player, because holy shit.
6'10",
6'10", yeah, 6'10", and I'm just like, damn, you're athletic and tall. You're probably a basketball player. Also, I don't know. So I'm gonna ask, like, can I see your vaccination cards? And both, he looks at me like, really? And hindsight, obviously, it's like, oh yeah, they're all required to get vaccinations. Like, duh.
Yeah.
But eventually, he pulled it out and we got inside, but afterwards, I'm like, oh God. So I said, text my fiance, like, oh, she loves basketball. I'm like, oh, Dwight Howard came in. And I told her, I asked him for his vaccination card, and he was a little put off. And she just blew my phone up. Like, you asked Dwight Howard for his vaccination card? I was like, yes. Sorry.
At least he had it. You don't want to be the guy that turned away Dwight Howard because he didn't have his vaccination card on him.
I went to UNLV, and I had a friend who worked security and Kobe Bryant tried to get into one of the clubs, and the bartender and the bouncer was like, I need to see your ID. And he goes, you know who I am? And he's like, yeah, you're Kobe Bryant. You're not 21 yet. So, fuck you, go Knicks. Like, wouldn't let him in the club, man. He's like, this is Vegas, man. I'll lose my license. You can't come in. I know who you are. And apparently he was pretty pissed, and nobody would let him in. So he flew back to Los Angeles.
Must be nice to be able to do that when you're pissed. Just going home.
Screw it, I'm taking my plane. I'm going home.
Exactly. As a 20-year-old.
Eagle, Colorado.
No, yeah, it's been 2 days now. My fiance wasn't so sure. So, hi, I'm Dwight Howard. Do I need to show my vaccination card?
So was Dwight nice?
He was very nice. I'm actually very impressed that neither him nor his partner that night said anything of the lines of, do you know who this is? Or anything. It was more of like, really? Well, all right. And, start scrolling through the pictures, and it's like, okay. And instantaneously in your mind, you're like, I think I done fucked up here pretty bad. And I guess cool, get inside. And then continue to have a nice night. No one went up to him and was like, can I get your autograph? No. So, but no, super polite. Very nice.
Nice. You treat him like you treat everybody else. That's a good sign,
So I try.
I used to work at the airport. Before 9/11, I used to do security at the airport. Security ran very differently back then.
Probably.
But I was doing the hand wanding, and so somebody beeps as they go through the metal detector, then you bring them over, do the hand wand. It's, late, just bring this next guy through. You're doing a thing, and then you go down, like, part, you go down to around their ankles, so you feel around, make sure there's nothing there. And I look up, and as I look up, there's this moment of recognition that I realize this was Will Smith. And then there's that moment of he knows that I just figured it out. Because I'm just in the middle, it's middle of the late night shift. Not just doing my own thing. Just like, oh shit. Smile, have a good day. Grab Will Smith's ankles. Great.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's probably good that he realized that you realized mid-ankle who he was. Like, oh shit. Because that at least when he wouldn't have been like, this motherfucking perv wants to feel like me, Will Smith. Like, oh no, he just said, oh, yep, we're in sync. I got you, buddy. Embarrassing for you as it is for me. All right, on my way.
Oh, that's pretty good. I was at a restaurant in San Francisco, and I recognized the drummer from Green Day. And I walked up, and he assumed, oh, I'm going to ask, he's going to ask for my autograph. He gets a pen out. I was like, hey, man, have you heard the new Slayer album? Because it just come out. And he's like, no. I'm like, you should. It's pretty good. And I just walked off. And everybody I with was like, oh, my God. I'm like, but it's a good album. You should ask him about it.
My moment on that one was Quentin Tarantino. I was working at a bar, and Quentin Tarantino came up, and we just shot the shit about tequila for like 15 minutes. And it was like, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh, have you tried this one? Oh, no. What's that? And we just like, finally, he decided on wanting to get. I'm like, yeah, that guy likes tequila. And I look over, and the bartender that was working with was just like looking at me. I'm like, what? We're both tequila nerds, obviously. Like, what? And he goes, you just shot the shit about tequila with Quentin Tarantino for 15 minutes. I'm slammed here in the well. Like, I don't know if he's impressed or angry at you. Like, oh, I'll get back to work.
Did you know it was Quentin Tarantino at the time?
No idea.
Oh, damn.
No idea. Wearing a hat, and he just started talking tequila, and I just went into full blown nerd bartender mode. I was like, "Yeah, tequila, let's talk. I don't know who you are, but sweet, let's talk." And then all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh wait, oh yeah, that's why I recognized him. I thought he was just regular that I was supposed to know his name."
See, that's good when people can be normal, and don't have to be too egotistical about it.
I mean, I guess you have to look at it like from my perspective. I see a lot of faces, especially in a bar. You see tons of people all the time, and you see them more than once sometimes, and eventually they become your friends or your regulars. You know what I mean? Like these people that you know by name and you know what's going on in their life. And there's some of those regulars that you know well enough that you know their face, but not well enough that you really know their name because you just haven't had enough like real deep interactions that you can remember it, or you're just like me and you're shitty with names. And so more often than not, what goes through my mind is, shit, I recognize you and I forgot your fucking name. Play it off. What's up, buddy? How you doing? Tequila, let's talk. Like, and it's
Have
just like,
you met my wife?
and you just try to like, be really friendly and you don't, maybe you know, maybe you don't kind of thing. And if it's a celebrity, it kind of falls in that same space. And man, this person looks really familiar. Don't know. How's it going?
Hell yeah.
So he's like, yeah, maybe get somebody that you know to introduce themselves to that person.
That's what you do all the time is you get another bartender like, that's a regular right there. I forgot their name. Go introduce yourself. What? Go introduce yourself.
That's
Okay.
the governor. Oh.
That's Ted Wheeler. Oh, that's why he looks so familiar. Got it. No, he's not a regular. I don't care anymore.
Now the question is, have you had a celebrity come through the bar that you've worked at? You expected a decent sized tip and they failed.
More often than not.
Like by how much? Like really?
Like none to like, a couple bucks on a pretty large tab, and you're just like, cool, thanks.
Wow. Now, was there anybody that impressed you? Like, oh wow. Like Drew Carey is known for tipping the doorman like $100.
Yeah, I never met him. Yeah, Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton was one of the most impressive people I've ever met as like a famous person.
Yeah.
That guy's the biggest. That's the guy is as big of a cocktail nerd as I am.
Nice. I was just watching one of his stuff today.
That guy is like, he came into a restaurant I was working at, and I shit you not, thank God it was the end of the night, because we must have nerded out over cocktails and recipes and shit for 30 minutes.
Did you recognize him immediately?
I knew him from several things. And I was like, man, I recognize. I'm like, and everyone was like, oh, it's Will Wheaton. And I was like, oh, cool. And then like, so I met, and he came up. He's like, hey, I love cocktails. Like, what are you making? I'm like, well, tell me about what kind of cocktails you like. And that was obviously the question that needed to be asked, because from there the floodgates just opened. And he was like, well, I'm experimenting with my bitters in the house right now. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Rewind. You're Will Wheaton right now. You're experimenting with bitters in your basement. Yeah, right now I have this project going on. I have this. I'm experimenting with this syrup. And I was like, okay, sit down. I'm like, what are you? Okay. Well, this is what I'm doing right now. What? I've never even heard of that. It got bad. It got bad real quick.
If you can nerd out with a celebrity about something other than their fame, find out what they're enjoying.
It was, he proved to be a cocktail nerd of the utmost. And
he took the term nerd back.
There are a couple people out there that made being a nerd cool, and I would say he's one of them.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, what we got on tap for next week, fellas?
That's a good question. What should we do?
Chad and I were thinking beer or gin.
No, I have some good barrel aged gin. Gin's just one of those things that you don't drink it straight for the most part. I've got some good ones that are barrel aged.
Cocktails it is then.
Fair point. You know what? Let's make a martini. You guys have mixing glasses now. I'll get you some gin and some vermouth and some bitters, and we're gonna make a martini.
All right.
Let's get real nerdy here.
Oh yeah, I'll wear my good underwear. Be all classy about it.
Did you guys see? I saw somebody doing I saw an article of the best whiskeys by state. Did you see this article that came out this week? Seeing if you agreed with them or not.
Ooh, if I can, we'll do it for the last 3 minutes. See if I can find this thing. Best whiskeys by state. There it was.
Is the
State.
best single barrel
Yeah.
whiskeys from each 50 states.
What is
All right.
what is Oregon's?
I haven't even got there. Yet.
Washington will be Woodinville. I can already tell you that.
Well, so it's what it is it's the best single best bottled whiskey from each state of the 50 states. Okay.
All right, Alabama. Detling's Small Batch 6-grain bourbon.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Looks like a sexy bottle. Alaska. Port Chilkoot Rack Line Rye.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Never tried it. Arizona Distilling Copper City Bourbon.
Oh no, I'm going whiskey Del Black. But go on.
Arkansas. Rocktown, Arkansas Bourbon Whiskey.
Good.
California. Sonoma Distilling Company Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Never had it.
Never had it either. Colorado. Laws 4-grain bonded.
Never had it.
I think I had that one once. Connecticut, Lynchfield Distillery, 5-year double-barreled bourbon whiskey.
Sounds good.
Does. Delaware, Dogfish Head, Let's Get Lost American Single Malt Whiskey.
Good.
I've had that one. It's good.
All right, Richard, what is your guess at Kentucky, Richard?
Kentucky. Either something from Buffalo Trace or Bardstown.
Mitcher's single barrel Kentucky straight bourbon. 10-year.
Mitcher's 10-year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That's good. Yeah.
Any other predictions you want to make?
I'm gonna find Oregon here in a minute.
Oregon. Fuck. I'm gonna have to assume westward probably. If I was a betting man.
How about New Mexico?
There's one out of Santa Fe that's pretty popular.
Doesn't say if this is from Santa Fe.
Colcagun single malt whiskey is the New Mexico one.
Oh, okay.
Oregon. Westward. Oops.
Single malt or Pinot finish?
Single malt.
Yeah. And then Washington would probably be Woodinville.
I'll bet you that Washington is Westland.
Woodinville, PX Sherry Cast.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Woodinville PX Sherry Cask. Ooh, I'll have to send that one to my Diageo friends because they just picked that one up.
Yeah, Woodinville's pretty popular. It's getting huge now.
It is. It's good stuff too.
Yeah, it is. All right, martinis.
These prices are ranging too.
Yeah,
$300 to $60.
I mean, the best can't be bought by price, I guess, right? Except when it's nice.
It's in Jersey, so
Fair point.
All right, fellas. I'll see you all next week for martini time.
Martini time. Here we go.
You all stay safe. Have a good week.
Cheers, guys. Stay safe. We'll see y'all next week. And you know how to follow us. Cheers.
Yeah.